Hello and welcome back to the PhazeCast. Today, we have both seen the new Marvel feature film, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Nope, that's not what it's called. Try again, one more time.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
You go. There you go. Melancholy.
Initial thoughts, Joe.
I had a good time. There was a lot of stuff I enjoyed about it. You can tell immediately it's a Sam Raimi film, and this is gonna give me a lot of flack. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Oh, see, that was the one thing I enjoyed about the movie.
That it was Sam Raimi?
Yeah, I feel like they used total Evil Dead camera movement through portions of the movie, and I thought that was neat.
I guess also, do we attempt to make these spoiler free anymore?
No.
Do we? All right, cool.
This is your
Hey
final
guys,
warning. If
you're watching this, why? If you haven't seen the movie yet and plan to. That's a dumb idea. Don't do that. Now back to it. So I went in without any trailers, right? So I went in not knowing pretty much anything at all. Like, I didn't even know that they were going to do America in it. Yeah. I was completely surprised when I saw the Star stuff happening. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It seems like we don't know who Doctor Strange is.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
And the movie didn't try to establish who he was. It just tried to be like, hey, let's have him do funny bits. And that's why I was disappointed about the Sam Raimi aspect.
It did feel like they didn't know really where to take Doctor Strange's character. Because he just ends up where he was already. Like, he doesn't grow as a person at all. There's no development of his character in the movie.
I think he did grow a little bit, but it's nothing that we can count as, like, you know... He didn't, like, grow immensely. He just learned how to move on. And we get that in that one scene where he repairs his watch.
I guess, yeah. I guess he does do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
he learns from the past mistakes of other Doctor Stranges.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't feel like I know the character. I agree with you that it's just like I don't know what function it served as a Doctor Strange movie for that character.
Because his characterization in the first movie was like very talented doctor who's very cocky and who wants to like know things and be in control. Literally, they said the same thing in this movie. He always has to hold the knife. Like he's the surgeon. He's the one who's in control of the room. And he plays like that throughout the Marvel movies. In the Avengers ones he's in Spider-Man, where he tries to, he thinks he knows better, which I guess leads into what the other Stevens do. He thinks he knows better, so he has control over the situation. So when he does the spell for Peter, he just does it. Also, I very much was happy that they shouted out Spider-Man. That means he's still part. He's still part. They didn't forget him. He's still part of it. He's still part of the world.
Yeah, as Spider-Man at least.
As Spider-Man, yeah. Well, I meant like Marvel still has plans for Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah. They still know that he exists.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, we did the thing and now we don't have plans for Spider-Man because we can't come to an agreement. Blah blah. None of that shit. But yeah, his character is a dude who just sees the mistakes of other versions of himself. And the only time I felt really connected to Steven in this movie is whenever somebody asked him if he was happy. And I don't know what that says about me.
It means you're sad, Joe.
Yeah, I know it means I'm sad.
I mean, I agree with you. It was a difficult, like... I just feel like part of the reason that you didn't get to know the character is because like most of the dialogue was exposition. His interaction with Wanda in that movie was them explaining the plot of WandaVision.
I don't think
that was the only
happened.
like cordial interaction they had in that movie, was like talking about and seriously, dude, like up to the end of the movie, when he destroys like the book of the door, the whatever the fuck,
the Book of Holding. The
Book of the Dead, yeah, the Darkhold.
Book of Darkhold.
It was basically the Book of the Dead from Evil Dead.
You're not wrong.
At the end, Rachel McAdams was still explaining that. She was like, "You destroyed the Darkhold book. That means it was destroyed in each dimension." And I was like, "We're like 10 minutes away from the end. You're still giving me exposition about what's happening."
Well, that's not new.
There's a lot to explain in the movie, but it is not. I don't think it is not a good method of storytelling to do that. It just isn't. And I get that there is a lot to explain in many Marvel movies, but I feel like this is actually like the first one that I've seen where I was like, it's just too much, because I'm not getting any like character from it. I'm just getting set pieces and then them explaining the setting, and then moving on.
It requires you have homework. Is what it does. Like, you need to have done the homework for this movie. Yeah. If you did not watch WandaVision, that's what it felt like they had to do. They had to explain it for those people who didn't watch WandaVision.
And I feel like if you're going to have all that extra stuff, and you're going to say, well, you probably should have seen Spider-Man, you probably should have seen WandaVision, they should just trust their audience enough that they know enough of what's going on to just run with it.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because that's one of the, I don't want to say a problem, because I don't think it's a problem. That's one of the obstacles that happens when you do long-form television and movies combined in this huge cinematic thing. And they're one of the only people who are, like, they're the first people who are doing it.
Yeah.
So they're attempting all these things and just kind of being like, hey, I hope they watched this. They had leeway with the Avengers, like, the two-parter, but even then there was explanation there's a lot of explanation in Endgame. In
Endgame, yeah.
About the first movie.
I just feel like there's value in trusting your audience, but I do get the thing is that the Marvel movies are their appeal is so far-reaching that, like, you can't possibly trust that whole audience.
Yeah, exactly. You can't.
So it's tough. It's sort of a tough spot. I just feel like there were better ways to show what was happening rather than tell you.
I don't know if there was.
And I don't know. I feel
because the movie is inherently about a bunch of wizards doing magic shit. And in any sort of fantasy, if you don't explain how that shit works and just say it goes, it's not going to make sense to a lot of people. In my opinion, anything involving magic and stuff, if you don't explain the system of how it works or what's going on, people get confused and angry for some reason instead of just letting it, happen.
So, 2 points to that. One, you didn't see Everything Everywhere All at Once, right?
No, I have not.
Not that those are like at all the same movie.
Are you plugging this movie again?
But Everything Everywhere All at Once deals with like the concept of the multiverse. It sets up like rules for its universe very quickly at the beginning, and then just runs with that. I think it can be done. It can be done that you can set up rules for this stuff. I feel like what happened in Doctor Strange a lot is they were trying to cover their tracks by vomiting exposition on me. For example, they said in that movie there was an exposition line where they were like, well, look at this, because all of Wanda's dimensions, in all of the dimensions, she's with her kids. There aren't any other dimensions where she's not with her kids. And that to me read as like, that's a plot hole that they needed to cover up.
I think she's like, I think she was crazy in pointing out all the ones where she has kids. I don't think we can take that as like there's none where I don't have kids.
Well, so then that brings up another point then. If that is not literally the case, then why did she not just go to a dimension where, like, those kids... Because my thought was, it seems like if it's an infinite amount of dimensions, there have to be an infinite amount of dimensions where those kids exist, but their mom just died, that she could go into and just live a happy life. Why did she not go to one of those?
Because she was literally being mind-controlled and whammied by an evil book.
By the Darkhold? I just...
Yeah. And here's the thing. People are going to argue, why didn't she do this? Why didn't she do that? This is out of character. The whole thing of her being out of character is because she read an evil book. And is doing evil things and has her mind fucked up because she has a bunch of trauma.
And that's something that, let me tell you, so here's the thing about that. Because I think that that's really the core of my issue with this movie, is how they handled the Scarlet Witch and Wanda's character.
It's kind of a slap in the face, because I feel like at the end of WandaVision, there was a lot of acceptance.
Yes!
And moving forward.
Yes!
But then the book is what fucked it over.
And the book is there at the end of WandaVision, but...
And you see her doing fucked up things because of it.
But 2 seconds of that at the end of WandaVision does not justify then that drastic character change so quickly. They should have given it another movie.
Quick, though. It wasn't quick, though.
It just was something that I feel like... Here's the thing about this, is that you know
what? Sorry, go on.
You know Wanda from the Age of Ultron, right? And you see her go through all these things. She loses her brother. You know, she's had a tough home life in general. You see her grow. She falls in love. You get to know this character. And it just wasn't justified to throw that character away so quickly.
I mean, I don't think she's thrown away.
Well, they killed her.
There's literally a multiverse.
I know, but so then that
because they establish a multiverse,
that then leads you into another problem where then
we did that with Loki.
The stakes are just totally gone.
That's the multiverse problem.
It really is.
In every superhero continuity, in any movie that does multiverse shit, that is the multiverse problem.
But with Wanda specifically, to hone in on that, it felt like almost sexist the way that they handled this. I would say that it was like, because it was like, she addressed even in the movie, she said, how come when you do this, you become a hero, and when I am trying to get something, I'm a villain. She said that, and I was like, good, they're gonna address this, and then they didn't. They did
address it. They did address it. The thing where Steven broke the rules was, little small things that didn't harm anybody. When she breaks the rules, she enslaves an entire town, mind controls them, and then sends monsters off to hunt a little girl. There's differences between breaking the rules. That justification she was doing was some Karen-ass shit, is what I saw.
I don't think so, man. I feel like
really, you don't like, you can't just say, oh, you broke the... You have to look at the case. That was what we were doing here. Like, that's the whole point. Like, when you consider breaking the rules, there's a difference between petty theft and murder.
I mean, Doctor Strange still got Aunt May killed with what he did.
That first off,
I mean,
that is different.
My point is that he's being reckless and hurting people. She enslaved a town, sure, but all those people were fine.
No,
they were fine.
No, they weren't.
Afterwards, they were fine.
Yeah, a whole town doesn't have trauma over that.
Listen, everybody's got trauma, man. It's fine. Wanda has trauma, and
look at you. Your argument feels weak.
I feel like the thing is, I feel like the character, I was too attached to the character of Wanda over too many movies to care more about some random girl that they shoehorned into the movie.
But that's superheroes.
They were like,
you're supposed to care about the good thing. That's what superhero movies are supposed to be about. Doing what's right. When the superhero movie stops becoming about doing the right thing with also a human aspect, that's when it loses people. That's no longer a superhero movie. That's how you get the boys.
It reminded me of the way they handled Daenerys at the end of Game of Thrones. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I watched Game of Thrones, yes.
So, like...
But here's the thing,
Daenerys... Here's what that reads to me as. what this reads to me, what they did to Daenerys, what they did to Wanda, is I cannot believe that we in 2022 can take a well-developed female character like that and then suddenly revert back and be like, you know what, she's got a good old-fashioned case of hysteria, and it's totally fine to just no longer side with them. And,
okay.
And I just, it made me so mad.
I think you're viewing this from a general lens and not a specific lens now. And that is what's causing you to hate that part. Because they explain why, because of the weird book things. And yeah, it's a slap in the face to the character. I agree with you there. But if they, like Scarlet Witch, canonically, in comics and all this other stuff, when she loses her kids and when she loses her family, she snaps and goes crazy. House of M happens, all the bad shit happens. That's the character, that's from comics. That is what happened.
I'm not
it is
saying,
believable.
I'm
I think let me please.
Yeah, sorry.
It is a believable thing. And I think that your refusal to believe it is because you wanted a deeper dive explanation when you just complained about how you want more show, less tell.
Well, it's not an explanation.
It's the Luke Skywalker argument all over again. You're the guy who believed that Luke couldn't fall and do this, but
that's exactly the problem. Is I want more show, less tell. What they did is they told me that the book made her evil. They didn't show me that.
They did. She had sent.
They showed you at the end of WandaVision for like 2 seconds.
They
she did a thing.
What? Okay, no. She sent monsters after a little girl. She the place where Stephen Strange met her with the apples. She turned it into a hellscape, and said, out of respect, this is what's going to happen. If you don't do that, I'm going to start going crazy. And then she kills all the wizards who were acting purely out of defense in the wizard school. That's all evil stuff, dude. What are you talking about?
But that was too abrupt.
Abrupt?
It needed to be a slower decline into madness if they would not. If they were going to do that, and I get that they're going to do that,
it's immediate
I get that that's
in res.
the character. I just feel like,
in fact, that's a Sam Raimi thing. We start immediate in res where he's running away with her being chased by a monster, which we figure out has been happening for a while.
I'm just saying,
all the stuff where she's gone crazy has been happening in the background in between times.
That just is a discredit to that character that they developed over like 4 different movies.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm not saying it's not but I'm not going to tell. But you can't sit there and tell me it's unbelievable because I'm like, no, it is.
I'm not saying it's completely unbelievable. I think it's kind of sexist, and I didn't like it.
I don't know if it's sexist. I think that's just the character of the Scarlet Witch.
I think that handling that in a way where you don't.
We can't just make a woman character like always good and better. That's not good. They have to fall too. They have to be bad.
I get that, but I'm just saying that handling that in a way where it's so abrupt, to me, reminds me of this idea, and it's sort of like a unconscious, like deep-seated idea, this like old idea of like, well, she's hysterical, we can't do anything about it. I feel like that inherently, not because that's what they're getting at, but it's sort of like it's like an institutionalized thing. Where that is an acceptable plot to have, that a woman suddenly goes crazy. And I feel like, I get that the Scarlet Witch, that's her end game
it
in
wasn't
many
sudden, though.
things.
It seems sudden because it was that's a movie. In a movie, they have to give you what they want. But we can't, if Scarlet Witch was the villain of the movie, we can't show a slow decline into madness.
Well, we should have. That's all I'm saying.
We can't, though. That's the thing.
They have the time. They should have given her like a standalone movie between WandaVision and this. Where
they gave her a whole show.
And the show ended with her being like, well, sorry. And then for a second, she was like, actually, I like this evil book.
Yeah, and that's how you tease the next thing. Bad things happen. Like
I just did not care for it. I thought... and I'll tell you what, the other thing that I did not like at all, the way they handled Wanda, was the way that they like weaponized the word witch twice. Twice they replaced bitch with witch, and that I did not like at all.
What? I don't want to say you're reaching, because I don't. If you feel that way, sure. But literally, in universe, witch is evil.
But see, and that's the kind of thing that's just
and
institutionalized, that they had a chance to revise and I'm upset that they did not take that chance.
What would they have called her instead?
I just feel like it's not about
villain.
It's not about. It's about the tone. It's about Wong standing there and with the same tone that you would in a like abusive relationship be like, you bitch. That guy
she killed his students and his love interest. You are not seeing. So here's the thing: what I don't get about this conversation completely and utterly right now is that you're so focused on the general scope that like that character reacting in that way is totally justified because she's an evil person.
It is not just. It's not
justified for Wong, who's wrapped up and stuck. Like, floating in the air with a woman who I think they may have had a thing. That was weird, right? We saw Wong with maybe a life outside of just being the Sorcerer Supreme. Also, Wong is Sorcerer Supreme. Get fucked, Stephen Strange. She goes, stabs a thing, dies. Like, Wanda then goes to threaten his students to kill them. Like, what are you talking about? Even in between there, motherfucker. Wong tries to reason with her still. He's like, isn't the fact that you fucking shut up. Isn't the fact that your kids are happy in another universe, isn't that enough? And she says no and then throws him off a cliff. Every single point where she interacts with Steven, Wong, and hell, even America, to an extent, they try to talk her down. And even the Illuminati tries to talk her down. And it doesn't work because she's being controlled by an evil force. It's justifiable for them to be angry and mad at someone who is killing people. The fact that you don't think it's justifiable to not be angry and mad at someone who is killing people is crazy to me.
It's not about that. I
think it is, though.
I think that
you're excluding that to look in the myopic lens of this is bad and sexist.
I feel like we've just got to agree to disagree because what you said there confirms a lot of what I'm feeling, and I don't think you can see it. And that's
then explain it to me. Here's the thing. I hate agree to disagree because I want to know the other side, but in this trying to get to know each other's side, you try to say no. Without letting me fully explain something.
Yes.
And then now when I'm trying to ask you to give me something, you're like, let's just agree to disagree.
Yes, Wanda was doing extreme things that are wrong and you cannot defend. But historically, in media, that is the way that people get you on the wrong side of an argument. I'm not saying that was the intention of Doctor Strange, but when you look at something like Reefer Madness, where they're like, you can't smoke weed because you're gonna fucking get venereal diseases and kill people, then you can watch that as a defender of it and say, well, this is a problem because look, this person killed people, you can't defend that. It's veiling a prejudice with a justification. And okay. I think that's sort of, because you can say, well, he was angry, but that's sort of a slippery slope. And I think that was just sort of a delicate issue that they had a chance to revise and to develop better that they didn't take. I think that's sort of the problem, is you can walk away from that and be like, you should call her a witch with that angry tone. And that sort of is a slippery slope into reality that is caused by media that wasn't handled properly. Because... And, in general, people are not smart enough to make those distinctions usually. You can walk away from it and be like, that's different, but not everybody can. And I feel like that's where it just sort of bothered me in general.
I believe people are dumb, but a person is smart.
I think everybody's stupid.
No. I fully believe that people as a society are dumb, but a person is smart enough to tell the difference. And in a throwaway line such as that, I think I understand where you're getting from with the Reefer Madness and the justification of being on the wrong side. But when it comes to the just straight, like, murder and attacking somebody in a superhero movie, especially a Disney Marvel superhero movie where the lines aren't really blurry in a Disney Marvel superhero movie, like, they've never been blurry. Like, people who say Thanos is right is stupid. That, like, he straight up went to different planets and killed people. He could have done
so many other things with
He could have done snap. Yeah, if he snapped, he could have like, what did you do? Oh, I gave people more space and food.
Be like, I just made all the planets a little bigger.
Yeah, I just like what the fuck, like Thanos. People say Thanos is right. It's a dumb take. It's which is why they made fun of it in the multiverse stuff when they were like, it sounds like genocide, man. Like,
no, I mean, but that's what that is to me. Is that it reminds me of things where like you can then justify it. You can be like, well, but you know,
but if it reminds you and makes you feel that way. You still have to look at it and see if it actually is doing that, or if it's just like a superhero fighting someone who is killing people.
Yeah, no, I get that, but then in that case, that just is like a throw. You said it was a throwaway line to call her a witch.
Because that's what she is. She's the Scarlet Witch.
But just with the tone, dude, it was like it was not okay.
I mean, I don't want to. I feel like that's. This might get me canceled. I feel like that's being overly sensitive.
You say that so much.
I mean, I don't know. Fuck.
That doesn't happen. Nobody is...
It could. Listen, people dig stuff up from like 10 years from now.
And that...
People are going to find these videos and I'm going to be like, well... Anyway, but still, like, he said witch. Yeah, a witch is a bad thing.
But see, that to me is just the idea... that a witch is a bad thing in 2022 doesn't seem like the right road to go down.
But they are.
When?
What do you mean when? The only time witches were good is in Harry Potter. Every other time, witches are evil creatures who like cast spells on people. What are you talking about?
There's a good witch in Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, the good witch. There's also an evil witch, a wicked witch.
It just...
What about there's that other Disney movie that involved 3 witches trying to get a virgin boy to light a candle and then fuck shit up. They're not good people.
They were all right. They were charismatic.
Hail Satan! Charismatic. Oh, so charismatic. If you can be evil as long as you're charismatic.
It just doesn't feel right to me, man. It just
I get that, but I think you're. It's not reaching because I can see exactly what you're saying, but I feel like that's. I don't get that vibe from it. I feel like...
It just overall feels like poor writing on Wanda's character's part after all of what you get to know her for to just send her in one movie down that path.
That's superheroes, though. Like, oh, and then the evil thing turned you evil. That's everywhere.
Yeah,
that is so. Literally all superhero stuff.
I guess so. Because that's... Well, but
There's kryptonite that turns Superman evil... That turns him horny. That turns him cowardly.
This will be determined, though. How I feel about that overall will be determined by how they handle the fact that Doctor Strange has now interacted with the Darkhold and has his third eye. If they are able to redeem Doctor Strange from that same reading of the book that Wanda went through,
they redeemed Wanda. They redeemed Wanda.
I'm gonna be pissed.
But they redeemed Wanda.
For like a second.
But yeah, they had to show her what was going on. That was the whole... It was literally the Civil War problem. It all led to just you showing you what you're doing is wrong via the eyes of someone you care about. Like, that's... And here's the thing, like, if we look at it character-wise, Wanda had no support system. It was all taken from her. Dealing with a lot of shit, man. Like she had nothing and then turned to darkness. That's not an uncommon thing. That's the most common thing. When you don't have community, when you feel wronged and slighted, you reach out for anything that'll make you feel good. And that's what that book was.
Yeah.
That's what everybody does. Like, the only reason Doctor Strange is probably not going to turn evil is because they introduced his new girlfriend immediately as a post-credit scene.
Yeah, what was Charlie's... You know, the post-credit scenes have gotten to this point where I'm like, I don't even know who that is.
That post-credit scene is why I was like, oh, Sam Raimi. Because
the Bruce Campbell one?
No, well, that one too, but also the one where the woman shows up. Yeah. She shows up, opens a portal, says, "Are you coming?" And he's like, "Sure." And then they're looking at it off screen, and they both jump. And I'm like, God damn it!
Well, it just is the kind
it's not Spider-Man. We don't need to do that.
Of course, the characters are gonna get more and more obscure. It just is funny thinking back to like Iron Man when like Nick Fury shows up, and I was like, "Oh, that's Nick Fury!" And now like people show up, and I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, well, it's not an obscure thing. I was mad about. It was just like.
No, the
the jump.
Yeah, the goofiness of the
the
thing.
goofiness. And also, like, Stephen Strange totally cursed Bruce Campbell just to get punched the Pizza Papa. The Pizza Papa
was my favorite part
himself.
of the movie. Was
I
the
knew
Pizza
it
Papa.
would be. I knew it would be. I like the pizza balls.
He's like, oh, you gotta pay the Pizza Papa.
You gotta pay the Pizza Papa. Fucking...
I read a review on Letterboxd. I wish I could credit the person. I'll do it in the description or something. Oh, nice cup.
Yeah, I got it at the new movie. I gotta tell you about my movie theater experience, as I always do.
But I read a review on Letterboxd where somebody said, imagine having a whole multiverse of stuff to work with, and the most creative thing you can think of is that pizza is balls and green means stop. And I was like, damn, that's actually kind of true.
Listen, it's easy to film. They did a whole CGI thing with Paint World and all that.
That was
shit.
cool. I wish there was more of that.
No, how would you do Paint World?
Well, not just Paint World, but like they just didn't actually go to
a
lot of. It wasn't that mad.
This isn't the time for that, but I feel like you brought up Daenerys, right?
Yeah.
Daenerys' character didn't change at all. At the end there. I don't know what you're talking about. She did exactly what she always does when things don't go her way.
But
she sicks her dragons and her slaves on people and then tries to become the emperor. That's what she did the entire series. That wasn't new. That was not new at all.
But my point overall, not just about Doctor Strange.
You are defending because you don't like a sexist view.
Yeah, my point about that is that your ability to justify that as a character move for a well-developed female character like that is the problem. That is an acceptable thing is the problem.
You are the fact that you are only focusing on the two negative female characters, as in like they can't be viewed in a negative light, is also a problem.
It's not. Isn't it? It's with the abruptness that calls back a dark time where you could take a woman to a doctor and be like, I didn't really like the way she reacted to that, and they would institutionalize it.
I understand that, and when it does happen like a crazy thing like that without a real explanation, that's bad.
There was no explanation.
Daenerys didn't change.
We could do a whole other episode.
We'll talk about Game of Thrones. Yeah, fucking. Oh,
we're not going. But that was like George R.R. Martin. I'm sure had a good way to get there, but he gave.
I don't know. I doubt that. He hasn't written the book yet.
Well, I mean, if he did it, he would do it better.
This is what I plan on doing.
He
I
gave
just
them
don't
the
have it written
plot
out
points,
yet.
and they got to those plot points too quickly. The big spoiler scene in Doctor Strange though was the Illuminati.
Oh yeah. Let's okay. So good things about fucking Doctor Strange. Sheogorath. I love the weird fight in the city. I love every time he gets to transform. It looks so good.
Who transformed?
Doctor Strange. Like from the suit at the wedding, he's like, gotta put the drink for
Yeah.
And that was so Sam Raimi. I don't know why, because it was like a balcony, and there was people watching a hero.
He loves the balcony.
Like, it's like, this feels like Spider-Man. Okay, cool.
I feel like he did that in Darkman, too. I don't know if you've seen Darkman.
I have not seen Darkman.
You should see, it's good. But I think he does that in Darkman, too.
I love that Wong is good. Like, just, he's good at his job.
Yeah.
They didn't explain the Minotaur at all. I think that was also just straight brute, like, Sam Raimi. Here's a Minotaur. He's green.
I like that Minotaur.
Yeah, he doesn't. We don't know why he's there. He's a wizard, I guess.
Yeah, he's a wizard.
He's training to be a wizard. Yeah. We just accept that Minotaurs are there. Yeah. But the Illuminati showed up. They definitely wanted just to throw in the multiverse stuff that they did, the what if stuff. But you got actually, like, first off, Reed Richards. Dude from The Office, right?
Yeah,
John Krasinski.
Yeah.
That's good casting. He looked great.
I think that's pretty good. I'm still holding out for Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny. I think that he would be a perfect Reed Richards because he's got like the cockiness about him that Reed Richards should have.
But he should also be, somewhat approachable, and I don't think Glenn has that.
I feel like he has
a golden guy.
I feel like Dennis in Always Sunny doesn't have that. I feel like Glenn Howerton has the potential to do both.
I don't think I could differentiate. If I saw him on there in that suit.
I think that's sort of the problem with him is that probably they can't go with him because he's too much that character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that a threat to Brie Larson's career that they recast Captain Marvel for that scene? Well, that felt like because you know how Brie Larson was like holding out for more money.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Well, we don't really care whether you are here or not."
Yeah, with people actually don't want your Mrs. Marvel. They want the young Mrs. Marvel.
Yeah. So now they're
we might just do that.
Right, and it was funny because I feel like I don't know who the actress was that showed up as Captain Marvel in that, but for me it was like, yeah, that's fine. I don't really care either. Brie Larson, she was fine, but if they did do that, it would be all right. Oh,
we were dancing around the one person I want to talk about.
And that's what I was just going to get to. And he was in the cartoon wheelchair.
He is. Did you hear the music?
And they played the theme song.
They bought the old 90s cartoon just so they could have the yellow wheelchair and the theme music play. I swear to God, that's why they did that.
Well, they did it so they could do 3 more seasons, right? They're doing 3 more seasons.
Yeah, but fucking A. Oh, I was so happy.
And then who was the other guy? It was some new guy. I forget his name.
The person who played Captain Marvel in Doctor Strange 2 was Maria Rambeau.
Who's that?
She was the character from the movie. The Captain Marvel. The
Wait,
one who,
her friend?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, it's Lashana Lynch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't even... Her hair was different. I don't know.
Well, yeah. It's like it was covered in a mask.
Yeah,
but,
she was like in a whole thing. I didn't even notice that. That's crazy. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and I'm like, what do you mean? It was just, it's her. I
don't care. Brie Larson was fine, but it's not like I'm attached to that.
No, I'm not attached to Brie Larson. And I liked... oh, God. Everything with Dr. Xavier was great.
Yeah. It's Patrick Stewart, man.
It's Patrick Stewart, yeah. I love to see the little cartoon wheelchair, the yellow one. It's just
that was interesting. The thing about that Illuminati scene to me, though,
we saw Peggy as a.
Oh yeah, and Peggy Carter, Captain Carter. I'm down for that too. She was the coolest.
She had a jetpack. It was awesome.
Her fight scene was badass.
Yeah, because she didn't just get jobbed.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, fuck. Could we have done something? First off, Thunderbolt was great.
That's
and here, okay, so that Illuminati scene. It brings me to a point I do want to talk about before we like. It felt like they tried to pander a lot to comics with this, and just recreating scenes from comics. Mm-hmm. And I saw that and I enjoyed that, but I also was like, I just want good character stuff.
Yep. Yes. Exactly.
I don't. Thunderbolt saying "I'm sorry," iconic scene, looked great.
Yeah.
And then him dying because his mouth was closed and blowing his head out, also happened in the comic. But same with Reed Richards dying with the flaily spaghetti. He didn't even get to fight. Damn it.
No. But it felt sterile. It felt like a testing ground. They were like, do you like John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic? Would you like?
I don't know. You didn't give us a chance.
Would you like to watch X-Men 97? It felt
yes, we would.
I know, but it felt like a testing ground for a lot of stuff that then is like no stakes because it's like, we killed him, so we could bring John Krasinski back.
Multiverse problem.
But we also don't have to. And that was like just... you're right. It's like I would rather have those characters, instead of sitting in a room just talking at Doctor Strange, show their personality a little bit more through like a fight scene. My friend, when I saw it, mentioned he was like, what would have been cool instead of having them sit in those chairs as the Illuminati is have Doctor Strange like quickly encounter each of them in different universes and have to like fight them or something, or Wanda has to fight them, where they each sort of have a chance to interact quickly. And
that'd be a 3-hour-long movie.
I feel like you could do it almost as quickly as like them going through all the different dimensions, and it still would, to me, have more weight somehow than that scene did.
I feel like they wanted to do the Illuminati as a thing, but they didn't want to make Illuminati the main thing, which is a terrible thing to do when you want to do the Illuminati.
Seriously, yeah.
Like, that's not what you should do. They're not a cameo, and that's what they were. They were reduced to a cameo.
They're like controlling the whole multiverse or making the laws for it, right?
Well, they're not. No, they're just like They're not. The only thing that they're doing is like, if a Stephen Strange does multiverse shit in here, we capture him and do stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just like that. Like that seemed kind of like very specific and like didn't explain what the true purpose of the Illuminati is.
What's the true purpose of the Illuminati?
To control and make to make the hard decisions that nobody does.
That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I figured, right?
Which they say, but like the only instance we get of that is the multiverse stuff. We didn't get into anything else because they are not our Illuminati. Our Illuminati isn't established or is even a thing. This might make it so that Steven wants to make him one. Also, I don't know if I want that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like a giant cameo that like was not. Patrick Stewart did a great job.
Yeah, I mean,
I loved his scene. I loved his scene when he went into Scarlet Witch's mind.
Yeah, that's cool.
And talked to that Wanda, which, god damn it, she's still living in that apartment underneath that rubble. That's sad. That's fucking sad, dude.
Is that Wanda stuck there?
Yeah. No, that Wanda is that Earth's Wanda. He was trying to get her to kick out Scarlet Witch's dreamwalking.
She was dreamwalking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oof. The music fight.
That was cool.
That was crazy. The weird guitar riffs, I was digging. I don't know who did the soundtrack on this, but
Danny motherfucking Elfman.
Man, he fucking knows. He did a good job. He got me going.
Danny Elfman, the genius from Oingo Boingo, who also did the soundtrack to the Spider-Man trilogy that Sam Raimi directed. Also was the singing voice for Jack Skellington in Nightmare Before Christmas. Danny Elfman is a legend. I was so happy. I didn't realize, too, that it was Raimi and Danny Elfman together again. When I saw Danny Elfman's name in the credits, I was like, I'm going to enjoy at least some of this. And I did. I did enjoy at least some of it. I think is the takeaway from this entire movie. I liked when it looked like a Sam Raimi movie. It didn't look like it enough. I wouldn't really overall recommend this movie, but I didn't hate it.
Overall, it kind of just kills a character and sets up another potential villain.
Yeah. And it was a lot to do just that.
Yeah.
It was a lot to do just that. Yeah. I feel like that's the thing.
And honestly, you don't need that. It did introduce... I think what it did do was introduce America. And here's the thing. I think Marvel's next phase, it just from what I've been seeing, is to introduce the next generation.
Yeah.
You see that with Hawkeye was a good example. Because you got Yelena and you got Kate Bishop and you got America now. Mm-hmm. Peter can still count because he's literally a child still. Mm-hmm. He's like going to college. They keep introducing all these younger characters. And I know they had plans for doing Miss Marvel.
Yeah, the TV show's coming out soon.
The TV show, yeah, they have plans for that. So it just does feel like they're trying to just set up like a Young Avengers Next Generation thing. To like... In their minds, like, first off, you want to move comics forward by introducing new characters and like pump that thing into it, and you also want to just have more identifiable characters for your proper market. And the market isn't just us adults; it's still the kids too. So you need a kid that the younger generation can relate to, and they're just pumping them out right now. They're pumping out the next generation of heroes.
And we're not there yet, too, is the thing. This is kind of like the interim, and this definitely felt like an interim movie.
This feels like an interim movie, absolutely.
And that, I think, is like one of the big issues with it. Yeah. Is it was like, where did we end up because of that? What did we get out of that?
I don't know. I enjoyed several bits of this movie. Here, it felt... You're not going to get this reference. It felt like WWE to me. Where they're like, if you look at individual parts of this... There's some great moments that I get happy and excited about. But if I were to sit down and watch the whole thing as a storyline from start to finish, I'm left kind of confused, wanting something better, and like mildly disappointed.
That's, I feel like, how I feel about it also. I think it's like in pieces. There were, I mean, anytime that like the camera started doing the Raimi spinning and stuff, I was like, yeah, But then there were other things where I was like, I'm not engaged in this, It was it was underwhelming. I would say I feel like what it is that it was above average stylistically for Marvel because it had the Raimi thing, but it was kind of below average like story wise because it is like an interim movie.
Yeah.
So if you, what do you do? Oh, you still have your popcorn? When did you go see it?
Let me tell you. I saw it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you. That's why it's all fresh in my head. Let me tell you something. Finish your thoughts about the movie, though. Finish, please. I want to hear them.
That's pretty much it. I feel like it was okay. I wouldn't really recommend it. I didn't hate it.
Get a Cliff Notes version. Watch the Illuminati scene. Watch the Patrick Stewart scene. Because fuck, that was good.
If you want to see Sam Raimi's style a little bit, this is the first time you're going to get to see it in like 10 years. You know? So it was fun in that regard. I'd give it, we'll give it a rating, all right? I'd give it 3 out of 5. And I
it's
would
pretty
bump
average.
it up. I would bump it up
average.
from 2.5 because of the Pizza Papa.
Pizza Papa. The car was in it.
What car?
Did you see the car?
What?
In all Sam Raimi's movies, he has his car in every movie.
Really?
Yeah. You
I
know
didn't
that?
know that? No, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. It was in the fucked up City Street scene.
Huh. What car is it?
I think it's like a shitty yellow car. I don't know what it's called. But because it's always in the movies, like something happens to it. So I don't think it's, you know.
Oh. I didn't know that. I gotta keep an eye out for that. I love Sam Raimi's movies.
Yeah. Closing thoughts. We've all wrapped it up, but I need to tell you about my movie experience so we can go.
Yeah, okay.
So I didn't go to the same theater because fuck that theater.
Okay.
I went to Icon Cinema VIP seating. Let me tell you about Icon Cinema VIP seating. Them seats is VIP. Them seats is primo. First off, it's a nice leather reclining chair that goes like really far out back, but like at its max distance, it's a comfortable watching straight forward. Feels really good. And there was a wall behind me because they tiered all the seating. So there's never anybody's feet behind my head. There was a wall. Fucking amazing. When I said, hey, I want an extra large popcorn and an extra large, thing, they had them, right? And they just handed me these. And I'm like, what? Yeah, the fountain's over there. And the popcorn dispenser's over there.
Popcorn dispenser?
There's this huge, giant popcorn dispenser, and there's 3 of them. Right?
Yeah.
So you take your tub, and you go to the dispenser, and the dispenser has 3 spouts. The 2 on the side produce popcorn, the one in the middle is butter, and there's salt next to the machine. Popcorn salt. You fucking eat salt.
Oh no, I thought it was like a dispenser. Just
No.
An
There's a
salt.
popcorn salt shaker next to the machine.
All right.
So I was able to popcorn, butter, salt, evenly throughout the entire tub. And it was nice and warm and not stale from the day prior. It was the best tub. Even now, it's the best tub of popcorn I've had in a long time.
Was it a drive? Was it a drive out there?
No. It was like down the street from the other cinema because I was going to because it just opened. That area is getting blown up.
Nice. Dude,
And
we
then
got the seats in like every theater here.
Nice.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah. The cup. First off, they had cherry coke. Immediate win.
Yeah,
I always wanted cherry coke.
Cherry coke's the move.
But they also had like slushies and everything there too. And they're like, yeah, it's free refills for the day, so just you can fill up on your way out too. Free refills, not one free refill that I gotta take up to the counter and ask for that. He's just like, yeah, just go refill it whenever you want. And also, if you want to switch to a slushie, you can do that.
What? That's awesome.
Icon Cinema, you're doing it right.
Dude, at Harkins, you pay like $7 for the souvenir cup, and then every time you refill it, it's $2. So you go back.
No, just bring this. Don't show it. Just fill up the cup.
You can't bring that forever. It'll be like 2 years from now. They'll be like, that fucking movie came out forever ago. You can't keep bringing this cup.
Fair.
But
I got to refill this twice.
What the fuck? You ate that much popcorn?
It was so good! And I hadn't eaten anything that day, so that was like my lunch.
I did the same thing. thing.
Mine was...
Well, go ahead.
Go on. I'm eating popcorn. You can go on.
Mine was so full of butter because I said, like, can you put some in the middle? And the girl was like, I'll hook it up. And she did. She really did, which I appreciate, but it gave me a stomachache, dude. It was too much butter. It was too much fake butter.
Too much fake butter is bad.
It's bad.
But yeah, Icon Cinema. I love you guys. You're doing it right. sponsor me.
Well,
all right, I think if we don't end this video, it's just gonna be me eating popcorn. So,
what rating would you give Mr. Weird and the Big Bad Universe?
I'd give it a 3. Honestly,
It was okay.
I liked Wong. I liked Doctor Strange. Like, Doctor Strange's character growth was learning from every other Doctor Strange's mistakes and learning to say that, yeah, it's okay not to be okay. I do miss you. Now I'm over you. I finally said it instead of just saying I'm okay all the time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Also, I'm not gonna lie, him taking over his undead corpse.
Oh, that was cool.
Was amazing.
Yeah, that was a real Ash versus.
That was just and he's just flying around with demons like that. Was
and he had the arms. That's the kind of stuff that brings that a little bit above.
That was fucking cool. And Wong was like, I don't even want to ask. He was just
that shit was good. 3 out of 5 for the Pizza Papa.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll see you next week. We'll be back next Wednesday with another PhazeCast. And next Friday with another Phase Point. And until then, I don't know, maybe go see Doctor Strange. But also, you don't have to.
Nah, go see Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Go see Everything Everywhere All at Once! It's so freaking good!
Constantly.
Every episode now.
Everybody.
Goodbye!
Like, wear sweatpants, but no boxers underneath, and the sweatpants are kind of looser. Sometimes it does peek out a little.
I got that on tape. So. All right.
Goodbye,
3,
everybody.
2, 1.